Good morning and welcome to Let's Code. So this is the tutorial number 1 for making server requests to OpenAI's APIs. You can use certain amount of APIs released by OpenAI to your advantage. So for making the request, first thing what you need is the API keys. So before API keys, let me show you which APIs actually we are going to use. So if you can see here, you have this image generation API which is in a beta version in testing phase. So we will be using this image generation API for our advantage. Okay, now to do that you need an API key. So you can get your API key by just logging in here and going to this personal section here, and you can click view API keys. So you'll be able to see your API key. You can create one and copy this and keep it in a file. I'll show you in a minute. So now once we have the API keys, we are ready to make the API request to the server. Okay, up to some extent these are free, but after some extent of use it gets as a paid service, but for now it is fine. So if you see the folder structure here, you have the main.py and key.py. So the key.py file only contains a variable, Python variable with a key. Okay, and this main.py is a script, is a main script where you can make the actual request. You can store this key wherever you want. You can store it in environment variable, anything. But for sample purpose, let's keep it in key.py. Okay, so here we will be making a sample HTTP request to a endpoint. As you can see, this is the endpoint for our API, this image generation, as I said. Okay, then we are taking a key inside the variable and we are passing this inside these headers. If you see, we are passing the authorization token and the content type. So these are the two required parameters for this API to work. Now we are prompting user to enter some text like the images which you want to generate, as you can see, and getting it as a string inside a variable. Now the most important thing is this JSON payload. Okay, it has got the JSON data of like model is there, prompt is there, number of images, what should be the size of image, everything can be specified. And you can get this data itself from the user, or you can hard code it. For now testing purpose we have hard coded it. So the model name is image alpha 001. It's a model created for this image generation API which we are passing. Once this data is set, if you want to have more information on this, you can check the official documentation of OpenAI and you can get good information about that. Now here we are using the request module and we are using the post function inside to pass in the URL and the headers with the JSON dump. Okay, once the response is successful, what we are going to do is we are going to extract that response URL, okay, from the JSON data. If you see here, we get the generated URL and we are printing it out to the console, and as well as we are opening this URL inside the browser directly using this web browser module with the open function. If you see, I have imported it here. You can import too because it makes it easy to open it in the browser. Okay, once this being said, let me try to run this. Okay, so as you can see, it has opened a image of white cat which we have specified, and in this way you can make sample request and you can get the images which you desire to get. And sometimes it is very helpful to do this with you can make a very useful use cases like apps you can make, and it's a very powerful technology actually which you can use. So for this tutorial, I think this will give you an overview of how to make a request to the APIs, open APIs, and how you can use. In upcoming tutorials, I would be trying to tell you how you can get more advanced into this topic. So for now, thank you, and please subscribe the channel for this latest update on OpenAI.